Hi there, good morning to you. This is KakaakiSocial. It's happy hour. So welcome. Now, the U.S. Court for the District of Columbia in Washington, D.C. has ruled against the release of President Ahmed Tinubu's document by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, and Central Intelligence Agency, CIA. Tinubu had asked the court to trash the order that was given U.S. security agencies to make his files public, and that was in reaction to the Freedom of Information request filed by Aaron Grispan, a website that promotes transparency and anti-corruption in public service. Now, in Monday's ruling, Judge Barry Howell noted that the court found the motion to intervene and incorporated memorandum to have satisfied all the requirements from Tinubu. So this means that the FBI will no longer be releasing the anticipated 2,500 pages of information on President Tinubu. You know, they would say that in October, that was supposed to start in October this year, 500 pages every month for about 5 months. So that no longer stands. Let's see how this went down yesterday. Achizi is saying that how can you be opposing the release of something you are so innocent about? Also in reaction, Papi says we are not interested whether they release them or not. At least FBI doesn't keep academic records. They keep criminal records. It's enough information for us. And Lord No says then he is going to be their slave and follow whatever is asked of him, Western imperialism. And finally, Dara says, my Jagaban too much, I beg. Twale Baba, carry go. He kept winning everywhere while the Agulu fraudster kept losing wherever he turned, and he got slapped. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu till 2031. Okay, let's see. How are you even sure that he wants to contest also in 2027? Well, maybe that person has an info that we do not. Now, the Labour Party's presidential candidate in the 2023 election, Peter Obi, has finally reacted to the trends on social media and then, of course, in Lagos, where the demolitions have been happening in other parts of the country. So Obi is saying that it's already enough hardship on Nigerians who are battling with multi-dimensional poverty. And then, as he said yesterday on the space of X, he tweeted quite like in 5 posts thread, and it says, what a responsive government should be doing under the current harsh economic conditions in the country is to come up with measures aimed at alleviating the people's hardships and to carry out measures that would take more people out of poverty. He continued to say that even if there are some violations as the government are claiming, this critical time is not auspicious for such an exercise, knowing the hardship in the land and the consequences it will have on the people, on the poor who are struggling to make ends meet with their little resources. And then it says the poor in our midst who are putting their major resources are going through very severe financial stress that should not be multiplied further. In some cases, the properties being demolished are the lifetime savings and retirement abodes of the aged and incapacitated. And he says that his appeal, therefore, will be for the respective government involved in this act to consider the hardship in the country and try and put a human face to their actions. While we should enforce sensible regulations, all actions of government must show compassion. That was personally signed by him. Under his comment section is Shooks, who says the demolition of building by Lagos State is becoming something else. The state government will approve properties and lands only for them to demolish them years after. But then Abu says make those people take their approval to court. I've been an SMS that they give them approval. And also tweeting in that light is Shegun Wale Shegun, who says, you haven't noticed that not one of all those whose houses was demolished has brought out any form of government approval. You have not observed the effect of their lawlessness on the poor people whose homes are flooded yearly. There are consequences for those who disobey the law. And then more reactions will come onto this from Apex Code, who says, surely, even if there are violations, the government of the day should first evaluate the extent and understand the pros and cons of such a demolition. When a government is quick to demolish buildings like that, it raises some suspicion of witch hunting. All right, then, so that's it. Let's have another story today to say that a Nigerian nurse that is working in the UK has reportedly been fired and deported back to Nigeria. And this is because she was seen praying for a dying patient. Now, this was revealed in a post shared on X by a Nigerian doctor, our favorite online doctor, Olufumilayo, who stated that it is unethical in the UK for nurses to bring religion while carrying out their duties. He stressed that the nurses are to refer a patient to clerics even if the patients on their own mention anything religious. So let's have him today. Briefly what he says. He says, I just read the sad story of a Nigerian who came to UK employed by an agency to work as a carer for elderly people. She was assigned to care for an elderly patient who was dying as she was reported for praying for the client to get better. Yeah, she got sacked and deported. And then when there were reactions as to why is this a thing, and it says, for those expressing shock at the sack and deportation, let me explain further. As a health worker carer in UK, it is unethical to involve religion or impose your religious views on patient or client. It's seen as abuse of trust and misuse of your position. You are expected to simply do your job and focus on your job. And finally, it says, remember your visa to stay in the country as a worker is tied to your employment. If you lose your employment, you will lose your stay in the country, except, of course, you find another job and employer. But in this kind of circumstances surrounding the sack, you may struggle to find another employer. Rather sad there. Uju is saying that what a sad ordeal. She needs all the love and care she can get from family and friends. She will be so devastated. And then for Barack Admiral, he says, how is praying for someone imposing religious views on others so they don't pray for one another in the UK? Also in reaction, Stanley says, Nigerians are too much in romance with religion. Workspace is not a religion center. They will learn in a hard way. And then for Chidi, it says, if she had prayed and prayer silently, and that if he had prayed that prayer silently in her heart, God, the searcher of hearts and trier of thought, would have still heard her prayer made in faith. The patient wouldn't know, and neither would the authorities. If it pleased God to give healing, he would do it. Knowledge is important if it pleased God. And then this just goes to what my pastor says, you know, Philip Olubakin, who says, you don't have to disturb people in your workplace when you're praying. You could just excuse yourself and do the thing that you have to do so that you don't even bring shame, you know, mockery to the name of God, in the name of serving God, and people are against me. So I think it's just time that we know where to do what. And I pray that she actually feels fine in no time. So that's how we call it a day today on KakaakiSocial this day. And of course, this week, it was nice time doing this with you again. I'll see you on Monday.